2020, here we go. Happy New Year, everybody. Playoff football, how much fun is this? We're fired up to get going, get started in the prep. We're looking forward to, we understand what this trip calls for, and we're going to try to get every ounce out of it in preparation and then in the travel and all of that so we can play really good ball. Philadelphia's changed a little bit in some of their guys, but their style of play and their completeness, the way that they have a complete football team and teams and tough defense, and they run the football well, all of that stuff. This is a good club. That's why they won a division, and they also finished great. You know, coming off 4 straight wins to get it done is really a great accomplishment for these guys. So. They know us, we know them some, and because there's been a game, but we game plan all over again, and they do too. So we'll have to see what happens, but looking forward to this for sure. We've been waiting to be in the playoffs, and we're ready to go.
What did you see from Travis Homer that you liked the most on Sunday?
I would say that the consistency that he hits it. You know, when he gets the ball in his hands, he's got a really good style, attitude about running the ball. And he just is downhill and gives you everything he's got. And that suddenness really is an asset. And we love the way he plays, love the style of his play.
Something you saw in practice, Pete, that you kind of expected that sort of outcome from him?
We've totally expected that from him, and that's all he's ever done. He's never been anything but full speed. He's 1,000% every time he gets the ball in his hands or chases a punt or whatever he does in special teams. He's been really true to who he is, and so it wasn't a surprise. It was good to see him be effective, you know, and have an effect on the game in a positive way.
I think most people think of bigger running backs when you hear a guy described like that downhill. Do you see many smaller guys like him run that way?
He's throwing his body at it about as much as a guy can do it. You know, I mean, when we had the 2 running backs hurt, and he gets the next carry and he gets the ball going up the sidelines, and he just crushed into the guy on going out of bounds. I'm going, Homer, no, because he's all we had, you know. But and I told him, and I said, hey, look, you got to pick your spots here, you know, because we don't have any depth. And he looked at me like, there ain't no way. He didn't listen to a thing I said. He was going to go downhill, and that's the way he plays. So I love it about him, and discretion isn't really going to be one of his strengths. So
Showing his special teams play, how much did what he did over the course of your special teams show you that he's ready to do this?
Yeah, that's where the indicators have come from. You know, he ran a little bit in preseason and all that, but I can't say it enough at how he has been so consistent since the day he stepped on the field for us. This is all we've ever seen of the guy, and so. Special teams has given him the confidence. You know, he runs the punt team, which that's a big responsibility for a first-year guy to have, and that's because he's so diligent and confident and special in his manner. So, you know, everything's just pointed to the positive.
Did you see all this in Miami?
Well, yeah, I think that's why we were excited about him, because he's a smaller guy, you know, and he's just around 200 pounds. We liked everything we saw from him, and so. You know, I think the accent of his suddenness has really maybe jumped out a little bit more than I would have thought. I think it's almost startling to see him just hit it sometimes. So it's pretty cool.
Going back to the Eagles, just what have you seen out of them from a team that was 5-7 to winning 4 straight?
They did an incredible job of regrouping and getting their season in order to win a championship. And they had a stretch throughout their division. They had 4 straight games in the division. They had to win them all, and they did. And so, you know, I think that shows the direction of the program from the head coach and then all throughout the leadership of their team, and they've got some good experienced guys, and they pulled it together and did a great job.
Andre practiced today?
Yes, he's going.
I think you said on Monday that Marshawn kind of came out pretty well.
Yeah,
On Sunday, a couple days later, any updates?
Yeah, he's good. He's ready to go. Ready to practice today, and no hesitation.
How about Malik Turner? What's his situation?
He's got some tests to do today to get cleared for tomorrow, and everything is trending towards he's going to be back. But I say that, and he's got a meeting here right now that he's got to perform in and show that he's okay.
When you look back on that Eagles game, how much of that was an anomaly? I think on both sides of both Eagles and for your team, Russell didn't look the same, offense didn't look the same. Eagles were so much different.
Back to the Eagles you're talking about. Yeah. I thought that the wind in that stadium had an effect on both teams. And both teams' passing game, and it's going to be almost exactly the same. It sounds, it's going to be about 50-mile-an-hour winds and low 40s or high 30s or whatever. Very similar to that same setting that we played in, and we'll be better because of it. We saw the ball that they threw a couple times, got moved, and it happened to Russ and to the receivers a couple times. We need to be better at handling that, and it's an unusual condition in that stadium because the wind isn't that strong, but yet it has a big effect because of the way it swirls in and out. So we got to do a nice job with that. It's good to know that. It's really good to know that going into this playoff game, and we're going to try to do better by it.
When you look back to last week, what offensively flipped to where you guys all of a sudden started to get in rhythm?
I thought our tempo, Shoddy went after the tempo. He went after the tempo, and I just think it just perked everything up. And protection really came through in the second half, so Russ had his chances to move and do the things he needed to do. That was the big difference. But we just, if you looked at it carefully, you'll see that we went quicker in a number of situations.
How key is Joey Hunt? Just kind of when he stepped in for Justin, just kind of.
Yeah, that's a good recognition. Joey has done a beautiful job of taking over, and really, this isn't a surprise in the sense that we would always tell you that he's one of the smartest guys on our team and in command of the scheme and the offense and all of the things he had to do. But for the little amount of time he's played, he was prepared to go from the moment he got in there, which was great for the coaching from the years past and again here. And it's really a tribute to him. He's a really brilliant football guy, and he's played well. He's done a lot of really good things, and there's some times when he gets in position with guys because the guys are bigger than he is, that he has to figure out how to handle it. And but he's a real center. He understands the game. He knows himself, and he's not just getting by. He's good. He's good at what he's doing, and particularly in the schemes when we need him to move and to get in the second level and all that. He does a really nice job.
Chris Carson need surgery on his hip?
No. Matter of fact, I saw Chris yesterday, and he was in very good spirits because of that. It's still quite an extensive recovery, but he has no surgery, and he doesn't have to undergo any of those issues. And he was really thrilled about that. And so the recovery will be as quickly as possible. And he was really have a good attitude about it and all that. He's a great worker. We won't have any problem, expecting him to come back.
Going back to Homer, there's a clip from the game on the sideline where Marshawn's talking him up, and I think he's saying, "You're inspiring me the way you're playing." What can that do for a rookie when you've got a guy like Marshawn Lynch?
Yeah, it's kind of a classic mentoring moment. When the guy that you look up to, and Homer does look up to him. He for years when he was growing up, he's made that comment, that Marshawn was a big deal to him, and to have that kind of willingness on the part of 24 to share himself and share his scars and all that, and pump him up and all, praise him too, all of that's really powerful, and it's a real tribute to Marshawn. I know he won't talk to you guys. He will talk to our guys.
He did talk to us after the game.
Good. Isn't that a good turn?
Not much of it was used.
I got you.
With Carson, you expect him back for training camp and everything?
Absolutely, yeah.
What about Rashad Penny? Has he had? Do you know anything more about his situation?
He's got a totally different situation, because he's got to do all the rehabbing and stuff. But all the expectations are that he'll make it back. But it was a legit surgery that's going to call for the full length of time, and it's a little bit less predictable, with his recovery than it would be for Chris.
Was it more than an ACL with
there was some stuff, yeah. There was some other things that they just had to clean up and all that. So it was more than just a simple ACL surgery, if it ever is simple. He's working at it. He's trying to get back. He's going for it and see what he can do. I don't know anything right now. There's nothing he's done on the field yet.
What happened with Ethan Posick?
He kind of developed over time a core injury that was just too much for him. He couldn't overcome it, and we tried like crazy, and he stuck it out as long as he could, and he's going to have to get fixed up. And he's played with it, for a little bit of time, and it popped up here that just he couldn't do anything about it, unfortunately.
Carson Wentz was responsible for 4 of the 5 turnovers in the first game we played with him. What was effective for you guys on defense?
Well, I would think, we had something to do with that, and our guys made some plays in pass rush in particular. Real nice couple interceptions, but the pass rush was really the factor. I think they got the ball on the ground, and we were able to scoop it up and go. So hopefully that factor can be there again. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it when you're rushing the passer and you're causing the QB problems and the ball's under attack, and that's what we're trying to get done.
They have had more time now to adapt to their injuries at receiver and such. Does that show up when you watch them now? How Ward and
They're finding their way. I might have said it to you guys before that I think Coach Peterson does a terrific job of using their people and using their strengths, and he's very adaptable in that, and that's what he's done. And to get Greg Ward going, and now he's caught a bunch of balls since our game, and he's a featured guy in the pass game, and without Ertz for a while, he goes right to Goddard, and away they go, and so they running backs too. Boston Scott came in and picked right up, where Sanders left off, and he really plays to his personnel really well. So he gives them their best chance to be at their best, I think, and it's a really, really good coaching job.
You guys didn't use Shaquem on defense last week, but where does he fit in the?
He's still to be available for the rotations. He's still working in those mixes. We saw a lot of base personnel from them. We didn't get many chances to get into the nickel stuff.
How's it going?
JD? Yeah, he's fine. Well, he's practicing and going. He's doing the best he can, so he's ready to go again.
Kind of with the banged up receiver room, it could open up opportunities for John Ursua, and he obviously had that big catch. Well, I guess just what have you seen from him, and how confident are you?
I think when everybody gets to see John play, you're going to really be excited about him. He's such a natural athlete, and he's got magnificent body control and quickness. He's got excellent quickness, the kind of getting in and out of your breaks and change direction stuff that that the best guys have. He's got a terrific catching range. He's really a good leaper, and it's just a matter of time. I think he could be a terrific inside receiver for us as well as moving him around. But I think the run after catch might be a special part of it. He scored more touchdowns than anybody in college football his last year. You can see why. He's explosive and creative, and he's got a lot of stuff to him. And so it's been a little bit of a struggle for him, just getting all of it together and all. That's why he's been the last guy on the depth chart. But as soon as it all clicks and he's in, he's going to be a factor. And this is really good for him to be around where it's there's a greater sense of urgency where he's dressing and being part of it. So it's going to bring out the best in John.
Do you have a favorite story or memory from your time working with Ed Orgeron?
A favorite story. Well, a couple of them I can't tell. Many of them. Eddie was a huge factor for us at SC. He was the guy that was on the staff that we retained, when I went there. And probably my best story was the second time I met Eddie. And it was, I think it was like a Thursday night before the weekend coming up where they were going to announce who was going to get the job. And there was a championship, CIF championships for, there at Anaheim, I think it was. And I went to the game. I was in town, kind of waiting for the word, and I went to the game, and I'm sitting down there on the field watching, and out of nowhere comes, hey, go Squirrel. He comes up from behind and scared me, and we got to talking, and he knew all of the personnel in both teams that were playing, and he knew a bunch of the kids and all that. And we were, working the sidelines and watching these guys come up close. And we spent the whole night together watching that game. And I knew that this guy was going to bring me something that I couldn't get otherwise. And just his mentality and his kind of how much he embraced USC and the challenge of making it a great program. That all came through in that evening. We had a great time. There was a bunch of great players in that game too. I think there was probably 6 guys or something that we took from that game, and that was the start of it all. I had met him in the Meadowlands. Carl Smith had introduced me. Carl Smith had recruited Eddie in college, and so he knew him all the way back. So we went to a Penn State game or something against, I don't know who against. And but anyway, we met Eddie at that game. Oh, it was SC Penn State game is what it was. And that was the start of it all. But what I say, I take the time on this because the relationship that he brought our program and the love and the unbelievable passion that that you may think he is. He's more than you can imagine, and he was so instrumental in everything. When he left and went to Ole Miss, I never felt the same. I felt like we really lost something enormous in the program because of, I mean, just his heart and soul and everything that he brought. It's why he's been successful in all of, except for the Ole Miss job that didn't work out right. Everything else he's done really, really well since, and so thrilled for his success. Freaking Coach of the Year and Heisman Trophy winner, chance to be a national champion, and all that stuff. It's a great tribute to Eddie.
What the Eagles' defense
Happy New Year.
Eagles' defense is on a pretty good roll, really, the whole second half of the season. Just what do they do well? It makes it
They're
difficult.
really consistent and they're really tough at the line of scrimmage. They don't pressure a whole bunch. They just play really tough defense from inside out. And it starts with Fletcher Cox. He's a fantastic football player, and he causes all the problems and disturbs everything, and it starts right there. They have good experience in their safeties too. You know, they get all the way to the back end. They just play good football. And again, like I said, they don't pressure to get it done necessarily. They just play good ball and attack you, and they understand the game, and they're smart, and they're difficult to deal with. They look exactly the same. You know, they haven't changed at all. They just look tough and physical. 90 yards a game rushing. You know, they're doing a really nice job there. So difficult to deal with.
It's basically 10 years ago, roughly this week, that you first started having conversations about this job, and then eventually took it. Does it feel like it's been 10 years to you of going through this?
No, it doesn't. It seems like it just flashed by. It really, you know, I probably told you guys that I thought, you know, you guys would have me for a couple of years and kick me out of here, you know, and you know, so I never dreamed that we would be here 10 years, and because I'd never been anywhere 10 years, so this was the first. But it really has been a flash. The amazing thing to me is that we've been through a generation of players, all but, you know, and you know, guys have come through the program, played their whole careers, and they're you know, they're on to the rest of their life. That's an amazing thing to see happen, you know. From so it's been an amazing 10 years. It's been a blast.
Looking back on that, is there a pivot point now that stands out in your decision to accept the job?
Is there a pivot point?
You had a good gig going. So.
Oh no, I loved it there. I loved it at SC, but I really was I really had the desire to see if our way of dealing with people would work in the NFL. I really thought that would be. I wanted to find out, and I thought I could find out in a few years, and you guys would send me. I'd know, you know, but. Because I wanted to see what it would be like if you treated people like they're your very own family, and you care for them that much, and you look after them, and you try to help them find their best in every way that you can, and not just coach football and all that, and see what the result would be on this level. Because most people would say you couldn't. And when I came here, you know, there's a lot of people that thought, no, you know, you're a college guy and you can't do that, or you can't do whatever you've been doing. We hadn't anything different. We just learned more how to care for people in more effective ways, and understand really what I was doing before I didn't even know. I've learned so much since I've come here, in understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing and how it fits, and where there's value in it and strengths to it, and there's method to it, and all of that. It's been really rewarding. It's been a tremendous experience, and so. You know, as I look back, the disappointment is how SC went after the years, you know, and it wasn't able to stay on that high that we were on. But and I'll always regret that, you know, because I loved it so much. To see it, you know, see them have to go up and down, and the different coaches and things like that was hard to take. But this has been amazing. So very grateful.
Will John Ursua have a role? Do you envision him having a role
regardless
of
get off
league
that
term?
What's that?
Do you envision John Ursua having a role regardless of whether Malik Turner's back or not?
Yes. Yeah, we're thinking that way. We're preparing him for that. Yeah, and see if we need him, I need him to be ready to go.
Malcolm Jenkins got to the quarterback a few times in that game. He played him last time. Is this something they do differently with him, or is that just sort
No,
of
he
nature?
did. A couple of times he actually, it looked like he was in coverage. His guy blocked and he added on. It just using exquisite instinct to take advantage of the opportunity. He came clean late and gave Russ a problem. He's a very savvy football player, and you have to make sure that you take care of that aspect of his game, because he can hurt you. He's been a very effective rusher. I think he's got 5 or 6 sacks or something this year. He caused a big fumble, I think, just last week. So he's a dangerous player.
Sorry, one more on SC.
What else we got?
One more on SC, I'm sorry. Why do you feel responsible for what happened after you left, or how?
No, it hurts my heart to see him not have all of the fun and all of the success. I mean, we were flying. There was so much fun going on, and whether it was, and I'm not just talking just winning the games. I'm talking the university and the community, and all of that was such a rich experience that you know, yeah, I guess you got to think it doesn't last forever, but it was, you know, I just wish they could had more of it, you know, because it was that good.
Did you get any enlightenment from the NFL on the uncalled PI on Hollister?
Did I get any enlightenment? Yeah, here's what I would tell you. They wish that they would have called pass interference. They can look, they can see it, and they wish they would have called pass interference. I think that would probably be the feeling I got, but because you easily could have called it, and nobody would have complained about the call, other than the guy that grabbed him. But so you know, that would have made everything a whole lot cleaner and all that. So it's difficult for those guys to you know, put a flag down on the field. It's got to be so egregious that you know that there's a standard to it. But had it been called on the field, I think they never would have overturned that. And from what I understand.
All right, thank you.
Did I get out of that okay? Okay.